Alright, let's look at another post in the Korean Eternity section. So, Mabinogi H-line skirt production. In this article, I will introduce the process of making a slim skirt, a type of skirt that is not commonly used in games. In the last post, the fact is that the Popo skirt is, that's covered in one of the other Eternity posts. We covered the process of combining key animation, physics, and retargeting to create a flowing skirt and hair. However, in Mabinogi, there are various costumes that are difficult to solve with this method alone. This time in particular, we'll talk about the process of expressing clothing such as the slim skirt that fits the legs perfectly. A short, slim skirt, usually above the knees, is often worn with skinning on the legs. What is skinning? It is a process of applying weights to the surface mesh of a 3D model so that it can move along with the bone that moves along the character. I think the stewardess costume would be the equivalent of the slim skirt example given above. You can see that there are no major problems even if you walk or sit down. So here you can see the stewardess costume. And there's the character like sitting. And there's the character moving. And you can see how like the skirt is moving with the character. So yeah, that looks really good. Among the slim skirts, the slim skirt that goes down to below the knees is not often used in character settings based on this book. An example would be the Eleanor New Look dress. I think the developers put a lot of thought into presenting as many different chairs as possible. It couldn't be helped. I created a skirt pattern using the method used in the Popo skirt is actually post, and then proceeded with skinning it. The skirt's natural form, which is attractive for its fitted feel on the legs, was not preserved, and instead it ended up looking too eerie, which was not what was intended. So here you can see what it looks like. This time I tried skinning the legs like I did for the stewardess costume. And here you can see what it looks like in this example. It kind of looks like the legs are kind of clipping through in the back maybe, I don't know. And maybe in like in the front, like kind of near the knees. When standing still, the fit is maintained, but when moving, the skin on the knees and thighs is exposed through the clothing. So yeah, I was right. So if you look at it, you can see like the skin coming through on the knees and like the back of their legs. It's like clipping through, that's bad. A sense of form, natural movement, unable to give up either one, I began to wonder if there was a way to express the advantages of both methods. Is there any way to maintain a fitted shape but prevent skin from poking through the knees and thighs? I installed an additional piece to assist with rotation according to the movement of the leg. Yeah, you don't want clipping through the actual skirt or clothing because that just doesn't look good. However, I was not able to get satisfactory results because the texture between the legs was excessively stretched. splitting the skirt mesh did not stop the map from growing. So you can see how like it's too stretched out, like right here. To compensate for the excessive stretching of the texture, I set up an additional bone that only follows 70% of the leg movement when the leg moves along a certain axis. But it's not easy, problems still occur. Like you can see in this, that still looks a little stretched out down here, it doesn't look good. Though it responded to the rotation of the body, it did not respond to the change in length, so the shape of the skirt became even more strange. There were more problems than I can list in the text. We added nodes that respond to changes in the length of the main body and control the length of the auxiliary body, and we did some additional work on some parts and tested them. So you can see like a picture here where like the skin of the knee and part of the leg is like coming through the skirt, and here it's not. In the test environment, it seems to have been somewhat resolved. So this looks a little bit better in this example. It's not perfect, but it's better. How would this be applied in the in-game environment? Here's another example. Yeah, this looks a lot better. Although it's not as perfect as in reality, you can see that the shape of the skirt is maintained and the texture is greatly improved in stretching areas. The part where the skin was poking out also disappeared completely. So yeah, it doesn't look perfect, but it is a massive improvement over the other results. Let's compare the images when skinning was done only on the legs without additional bone settings, and when skinning was done after the additional bone settings. So this is what it looked like before, this is what it looked like after. Before, after. Yeah, you can see that this looks a lot better. Looking at the before and after images, it seems to have improved a lot. Of course, due to the nature of the game, there may still be some imperfect parts. But moving away from expressions like steel hair or steel skirts, we are constantly working to ensure that you, the Militians, can enjoy the show as beautifully as possible. So yeah, I think they're working really hard on this.